Well, welcome back, single mamas. We have Jamie VanVliet back with us today, and Jamie is a businesswoman, a Christian leader, and speaker, and she is here to talk to us about dreams and visions and goals. And we started last week, so if you missed last week's session, please go back and listen to it because it really lays the foundation for this week. And we had an assignment. We were supposed to write 101, yes, 101 imagination dreams that we would have with no boundaries, no education, no finances, nothing that could hinder, just write down our dreams. And so today she's going to talk to us about the difference between dreams and goals and how we can move from one to the other. And I'm just excited to have you back today, Jamie. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be back. And it was a fun conversation and I think really meaningful on setting the groundwork. And today I'm really looking forward to sharing about what is the difference between a dream and wish, or like say resolution. You know, the first of the year is coming up, we make all these resolutions, you know, and how that's different from a goal, and then how to actually have goals that we can achieve. So I'll get started with the first thing of the difference between a dream is nothing more than a wish. Say, like, I want to go to Hawaii. I want to go to Colorado skiing. I want to weigh 130 pounds, okay? Those are good. Those are things that we're expressing and that we want. But what makes a dream a goal is by adding a deadline to it. All of a sudden, there becomes now something that's really even much more weightier by saying, I want to go to Hawaii and I will go there by July 2022. All of a sudden you're hearing, now there's commitment, you know, there's some commitment to it. Yeah. I will weigh 130 my goal is to weigh 130 by December 31st, 2022, a year from now. All of a sudden now that just took it from something kind of in the air to being something of, oh my gosh, I have just told somebody we're going to go to Hawaii by July 2022. And so it's simply putting a deadline. And I think that is one of the biggest things. We make resolutions at the first of the year. I want to lose weight. I want to travel, but things are too vague. So we're going to talk about now how to, you know, sharpen our skills here and actually accomplish these.
That's awesome, because and that's so simple. But when you say that, put a date on it, it's like, oh, wait a minute, now I have to do something. I have to take some steps. It's not just in my head anymore.
Yes, yes. And, you know, writing that out is part of it. We're going to talk about the SMART goal system, where we will write out, I will lose 10 pounds by July 1st, 2022, and then breaking it down to, I will lose 1 pound a week, you know, and even breaking it down. All of a sudden, that power of commitment, and writing brings commitment. That's one of the steps. So what is a SMART goal technique? It's been used in business and other types of churches for years. It's one of the best. It's simply a tool. And what SMART stands for is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and have a time frame. So there's 5 elements. It's goals. To be a goal, it must be specific, it must be measurable, it must be achievable, it must be realistic, and have a time frame. So let's take, for example, specific. I often hear people say, I want to lose weight. We mentioned that. That's too vague. Do you want to lose 5 pounds? Do you want to lose 10, 15, 20? So to make it specific by saying, I want to lose 10 pounds, so, or like, I want to save money. Well, do you want to save $10? We're almost at 2022. So for 2022, I want to save money. Okay, that's great. But all of a sudden, when we say, you sit down and you go, how much money do I really want to save? And you think about, well, realistically, what can I do? Because that's one of the ones on, is it realistic? Well, realistically, I think I could save let's say $4,000 this year. Okay. And, maybe that's a stretch. Maybe you feel like if I really worked hard, I could save four, but let's let the power of the Holy Spirit, let's say 5,000. Okay. And now your head is going, oh my gosh, how am I going to save that? We would break it down to how much is that a month? And then how much is that a week, which is about $95 a week. But we're simply wanting to have some goals here that we can break down and add a time frame to and be specific on. Okay, I want to have a good family. We all want to have good families, but what does that look like for you? Yeah. So the first thing we do is from this list of 101. Again, I like to just look at my list. I want to give God praise for how he made me and all the things, the desires that, he has given me. And I look at them and I ask the Holy Spirit, I say, Lord, I want to take 10 this year that I want to look at and achieve with you. I want to walk through this year together with you. Lead me and guide me. And I start looking and I encourage women to take about 4 or 5 goals that they really feel they could do with just some common sense effort. Like say if that, say you've really, really always wanted to be bilingual and you want to learn Spanish. It would not cost a fortune. It would cost some time. You'd have to research how to do that. But really for any of us, if we really wanted to begin learning Spanish this year, we could learn Spanish or sign language or French. So you take some of these goals that you've wanted to do. Maybe it's a road trip. Maybe you feel like financially you want, that's going to be what I call one of the big dream goals for the Lord. But you've always wanted to take a road trip. There's so many places, I want to go to St. Augustine, which has 3 million lights at Christmas. Okay. So it's like, put St. Augustine, and actually that's on my vision board for this year, is to do it at Christmas time. So I've got about 6 weeks before 6 weeks. So I'm going to get on it. Okay. So you put these on. Then I say to the ladies, I want you to take a couple of goals that are just a little bit beyond the reach. Okay. That might be paying off that one debt, and it's just a little bit beyond the reach. And then I want you to take 1 or 2 goals that really would be such a big miracle, but it's been in your heart. Okay. So let's say you wanted to be a doctor and you're at home and you're working full time and you have 2 little children and you're like, how is this ever going to work? Okay. Maybe just put that on there, because maybe the Lord is going to give you some opportunity where somebody's going to watch the children, or somebody is going to say, hey, I will help you with the books and the tuition. Or maybe there's a program out there that we don't even know about that exists. Maybe your employer would say, oh, it's amazing how the Lord opens up doors, and like employers say, oh, we have this new program that you can go back and we'll pay for some of your college and some of your credits. Yeah. But we just need to let ourselves think and dream a little bit, because right now I want to encourage you, don't say, well, in my head, the more logical some of the women are, sometimes it's almost more hindering. Okay. I have a friend, she just writes everything down, and year after year she gets it. And I told somebody, I said, I need to be more like Lisa, because Lisa just writes these things and she gets everything, where my mind wants to try and go, well, how can I figure this out? Don't figure it out. You just need to pare down to your first 10. Yeah.
It's amazing what God does in the doors he opens when you least expect it. And I think of the many vacations I took with my kids, that if I looked at our finances, it would be impossible that we could have taken those trips. And yet the doors opened. Somebody would say, we have a place that you can stay for a week with your family. Would you guys like to go? So, oh, sure, we'll spend a week at that cabin in the prime time and not have to pay for it because you chose to bless us with that. Or friends in another state. We went to Washington, D.C. from Minnesota, and they had moved there, and they said, hey, come and stay with us. All the Smithsonians are free, so you can take the kids every day and it's free. So it's basically was a car rental, and even that, I don't know if we did. I think we took the metro in every day and just stayed at their house. We just had to get there. And I went with another friend, so we split the cost on the car that took us out there. And so God doesn't have these limits that we put on ourselves when we begin to dream and walk with him in it, not just be foolish, but to say, God, if this is in your plan, if this is part of it, because you put it in my heart that I love to travel, and you open the doors. And it would happen time and time again, because when we're with the Lord, he does those things that are impossible. Like you say, there's scholarships, there's books, there's tuition, there's people that come along. Um, it's amazing what God will do when we set our hearts towards a goal.
I have a friend who took one of my classes that I taught back in San Diego, and this was in 2011. And I spoke with her about a week ago, and her dream back then in 2011 was to learn to fly commercial airplanes.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now she is an engineer, so she is very mechanically and technically, math oriented. She's very good. And I thought, oh, if I ever had to ride in a private plane, Andrea would be the one I would trust enough, just because I believe in her. But she has been working on this goal now for 10 years. So she said, I want to commercially, and what her desire was she wanted to fly ministers who were traveling the nation with the gospel. That was her one goal, to fly commercially. It wasn't to work for a commercial airline. Well, we're all in San Diego at the time, and she was trying to save up money, and she was taking some flight, but I understand from her that flight school is about $100,000.
Oh, wow.
You have to pay for all these hours to fly these planes. Well, I called her about a week ago, and she said, Jamie, I don't have much time to talk, but I want you to pray for me. And I said, why? She says, because Jamie, what God has done with my dream of flying, and she's been very focused. And she said, the Lord, as you know, had me move to Dallas about 2 years ago from San Diego. I took that step and I started working at this flight school. And the Lord has given me this $100,000 education that I could never have paid for through the school. And she said, even more, I've got my test today, this very day today. And so I prayed for her again this morning to take on the Falcon, which is this one commercial plane that evidently a lot of ministers can fly on and can get you the distance. And she said, I am this close to being certified. Wow. So a dream fulfilled, the Bible says, is a tree of life.
Yeah.
And she is one woman. I would say she started this dream at about 55 years old.
Wow.
And I'd say she's about 65. So see, you're never too old. She didn't let anything. She just said, you know what? The Lord's word says all things are possible to them that believe. And that was in her heart. And see, the Lord is helping her and even giving her ways. How could I do this? I could never afford this. And he created a way.
Yeah, that's really good. So how do you say you want the SMART goals, realistic in something like that? I'd sit back and say, well, that's not realistic. Or, I'd look at my goals and say, well, that's not realistic because I can't imagine how that can come to be. How does that fit into your goals?
Okay, that's such a good question. Okay, so let's take some goals. Like I said, you take about 5-6 goals where you're really going to need and use the SMART one, because these are ones that, like losing weight.
Yeah.
It takes our effort. Yeah. As much as we'd like to say, oh, I just, weigh my ideal weight. It really does take some exercise. It takes better choices. Yeah. Okay. So those we're going to break down to steps. So again, let's just I want to lose 20 pounds, for example, in 2022, and I want to be able to wear, and it's nice if you say, like, maybe you want to take a cruise, and I'm going to be able to wear this wonderful dress. And you might even think about buying something that would be like so invigorating and inspiring for you. Like, I'm going to wear this dress. My mother had done that many years ago. And she had bought this white formal dress for my father's graduation. And that kept her on track to lose the 26 pounds she needed.
Wow.
And when she put the dress on, and these were in the days when women wore white gloves and stuff, she had, exactly, it was the dream fulfilled. So part of it, so what you want to do is take that goal. I want to lose 20 pounds. And you start thinking, now, how can I measure this? How can I break this down per month? What does that look like? And what does that look like per week? Sure. And then you think, okay, if it's 1 pound a week, you then break down, so what do I need to do? Do I need to add more exercise? Do I need to add more water to my diet? Do I need to not eat after 7 o'clock? And those are the wonderful factors that, as you're praying, God will show you, but you make a plan. And everything we do, all the goals, and people have a lot of fear in life when they don't have goals, and we fight fear with a plan. The best way to fight fear is with a plan. Mm-hmm. So that is a SMART goal. The one with, like, say you want to be a doctor, or Andrea who wanted to be an airline pilot. See, those are the things that really could be linked with your calling. And you want to show the Lord you're faithful. So I can't be an airline pilot today, but I can start with my first course.
Yeah.
Or say I want to be a doctor. I can't obviously practice by the end of 2022 on December 31st, but what step could I first take? Do I have all my undergrads?
Yes.
Is there online school? Is there Zoom school? I know one single mom that accomplished her education, and literally she would put the kids to bed and every night went to night school for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, as a single mom, I believe you finished your degree as a single mom. Is that correct?
Yeah. There's so many things you can do with that time, but you have to take those steps and take the first step. If you don't take the first step, the second one never comes.
Yes. Yes. Then there's also the power of proximity. For example, say you want to have you would love to own your own boutique. You would love to own your own fashion design, but you're working for somebody else. Part of it is getting around people that own their own boutique. Yes. Maybe it is working, if you could, if it's an every other weekend scenario, for your children, maybe you could find just 4 hours every other week to start working at a boutique. Get around people who own boutiques. Find out what's the pros and cons. Find out from them what you have to learn. You don't necessarily have to go back to school these days. A lot of it, in fact, where college was always the only way to get to everything, we're finding out a lot of people have degrees that they're not using.
That's right.
And a lot of it is hands-on training.
Yes.
And so maybe you could own the boutique that way. Yes. Or say, for example, you want to have confidence and you just feel like you want to become a speaker, or maybe you even want to be on TV. Being on TV used to be so daunting. Not today. Lois, you're on TV. It's just amazing how normal, everyday people God can do now because of our technology and the opening of the internet.
Yes. That's so true. And YouTube can teach us so many things that we used to have to take classes for. You can go online and take classes right there for many things. We're going to have to wrap it up here pretty soon. What else do you want to tell us about taking our dreams to goals?
I think the last thing is on this session is if we have some ladies that are stuck, there's another system to another tool I like to take is 6 areas. Okay. And it's having your faith, family, finances, fitness, and friendship, free time, those 6 things. And I would write in next to them the 4 questions. 1, what am I going to do? 2, why am I doing this? Number 3, how am I going to do this? And number 4, when am I going to do this? And so, for example, let me take like a family goal I personally have right now. I have a family goal right now. My children all live in different states. And what am I going to do? I want to have a strong family with my children and grandchildren through the different miles. And I also want to leave them a legacy of faith. Why am I doing this? Because to sow into my kids and grandkids and to have a legacy is very important.
Yeah.
So number 3, how am I going to do this? Well, I've decided I'm going to write my kids on a rotation. I have 13 grandchildren. I'm going to write each one on rotation. I am going to send them little gifts. It may just be even $1 or $2 in the mail. I'm thinking of you. Don't spend it all at one spot. A little note. Don't spend it all in one spot.
Yeah.
Or save it, for a rainy day. And then I have committed that on a 12-week rotation basis, I need to leave the wonderful state of Florida and go visit them because they are worth it. If they can come and visit me, great. And if not, I've decided then it is so important. My children, grandchildren are so important that every 12 weeks, I am going to make a way to go visit them. So that is a family goal that I have currently and extending into 2022 by asking those 4 questions.
That's great. That just those simple little tools can make such a difference in getting us unstuck and moving us to a new phase of life, really. And I always feel like it's breathing life into us. When you're stuck, it's just like you're dead inside. You're alive and you're moving and you're doing things, but inside there's nothing. And these steps of dreaming and setting goals and this last one, even with family or fitness or whatever it might be, it brings life back to us. And ladies, if we don't have life, we are stuck and we just are existing from day to day. And God just wants so much more for us than that. And that's the purpose of these podcasts, is to bring those words of life to you and encouragement to you that there is more. There can be more for you. You may seem like your world is this little box that you're in and you can't break out of it, but there's so much more outside of it. And these are practical steps to help you get to those. It's been such a joy to have you share these things. And we are actually going to do another session because Jamie has a number of resources and we're going to walk through some of those. I'm going to list them on the website, singlemamas.org. So you can go there and look at these. But we want to walk through that. We want to talk a little bit about how to have your children have vision, how to help them have vision, cast vision for them. And for those of you that feel that your life has just fallen apart and there's just nothing in front of you, you're in that hopeless place, we have some helps for you, some suggestions, some resources. We know we've both been in that place of being at the bottom, and we know that there's something above that, and we just want to encourage you with that. So join us again for our next session. I look forward to having you. Again, remember, you can go to our website, singlemamas.org, or our Facebook page, Single Mamas Ministry, and there's a page or a group that you can join. We're happy to ask questions. If you have any questions, be sure to put them on there, and we will answer your questions. Thanks for joining us again today, Jamie. We'll see you all in our next session. Thank you.
Thank you.